pretty crazy insults. And then there's another phone call where he's on the phone with Mariah talking about Future will just blow his beans in any girl that wants it.
Young Thug always had his doubts about Future, especially when it came to women. But after shocking new footage of Future with his girlfriend hit the internet, Thug's worst fears might be coming true. Apparently, a whole lot went down while he was in jail. We got all the details. Let's break it down. The explosive rumors that rocked Atlanta. Yo, the rap game got completely flipped upside down in September 2025 when some real spicy jail call recordings from Young Thug's bid started making rounds on all the social media platforms. But buried deep in all that personal drama was some street gossip that had the whole hood buzzing. Word on the block was that Future might have been messing around with Young Thug's main shorty, Mariah the Scientist, while my mans was locked down fighting his case. These leaked joints were straight fire content for the gossip pages, and everybody was waiting to see what tea was about to spill, especially when it came to one particular Atlanta legend who was about to get put on blast.
Just when I thought I was out, Thug pulls me back in, man. We got another leak, another day, another leak from the Atlanta Chronology. The whole box set, okay, has just dropped, and this has been a long-awaited guest star, Future.
The rumors alleging Future's romantic involvement with women associated with Young Thug represent a long-standing undercurrent in Atlanta hip-hop gossip. But these September 2025 leaked jail calls put them street whispers on steroids. These allegations, basically saying Future bagged Thug's girl, were pointing fingers at his current main piece, Mariah the Scientist, his ex-wifey, Jerica Carlack, or his baby mama Cleopatra Deuce. The word in the streets about Future sliding through Thug's roster goes way back to the mid-2010s, right around when them boys were beefing heavy and running in the same Atlanta circles. You know how it go in the rap game. All these rappers be hitting the same type of baddies, whether it's IG models, video vixens, or industry chicks. So the rumors had plenty of room to grow into some real messy drama. The calls themselves were straight embarrassing for everybody involved, but they gave the culture a raw, uncut look into how these Atlanta trap kings really moved behind closed doors, and folks couldn't get enough of that authentic street tea.
He winning a lot of people over right now, and I ain't gonna lie, this Future phone call is definitely embarrassing. This is bad for sure, but the way that he handles this call and the way that he handles himself in this little beef with Future is actually hilarious.
Back during that Twitter war in 2015 to 2016, when Metro Boomin was talking crazy about mixtape releases and starting beef, the word started floating around that females were really at the center of the whole situation. Street sources on sites like Lipstick Alley and early Twitter threads were saying Future had got down with Jerica Carlack, who was Thug's main. Squeeze from 2015 to 2019. Carlack, who was doing her modeling thing and building her business, allegedly got linked up with Future through industry parties, and some blog post from 2016 claimed they had something going on when Thug was out of town handling business. The rumors got even crazier during Thug's bid from 2022 to 2023. With Thug locked up on them RICO charges since May 2022, the street talk switched to other women in his circle. A March 2023 Instagram live from somebody claiming to know the situation said Future had been seeing Cleopatra Deuce while Thug was down, tying it back to some club sighting in 2022. But it was what got revealed in the actual calls that had everybody's jaws on the floor. The recordings exposed intimate details about Future's alleged player lifestyle, with Thug and Mariah going in on what they saw as a pattern of Future treating his women foul. According to their conversation, Future had a well-known reputation in Atlanta for how he moved with his roster of females.
Thug basically says that Future and his girl must have aborted a bunch of kids and that he flew his girl and his baby mums out to Dubai together, which I can't lie is pretty peak.
Got me on Pluto. He definitely do it. She probably not killed some of his babies, for sure.
The conversations between Thug and Mariah exposed their take on Future's alleged relationships and the patterns they claimed to peak. In these real personal exchanges, they were discussing what they saw as Future's treatment of women and the alleged financial arrangements that came with messing with him. The level of detail they went into about these alleged patterns showed this was something they had been chopping it up about regularly during Thug's bid, painting Future as somebody who moved real reckless with the females in his life. Mariah speaking up in these conversations would later become real significant when the rumors about her allegedly getting down with Future started making waves. Her seeming knowledge of Future's alleged patterns and her active participation in roasting him created a complicated web of accusations and speculation that had social media going crazy for weeks.
And Mariah basically goes on to say that's how Future's girls get their money, and she knows a bunch of people who aborted his kids. Is saying, hey, if you deliver the kid and you become the baby mama, you're getting a bag. But if you cut the little deal and you end it early, You might be getting a bag too.
These intimate conversations between Thug and Mariah about Future's alleged player moves would later fuel mad speculation about whether Mariah herself had been messing with Future during Thug's incarceration. The irony wasn't lost on nobody. Here was Mariah talking down on Future's alleged treatment of women like she was judging him, while rumors were simultaneously floating around that she might have been one of those same women during Thug's most vulnerable period behind them walls. These September 2025 leaked calls brought all that old street gossip back to the surface with a vengeance. The timing of all this, dropping right when Thug was confessing to his own cheating in the same calls, had people thinking that maybe all this criticism of Future was really about some personal betrayal rather than genuine concern about Future's lifestyle choices. In earlier interviews during Thug's bid, Mariah had been talking about her relationship with Thug like she was really solid and committed, which made these later allegations even more shocking and painful for fans who had been supporting her ride or die status.
That's why I say the internet can get really judgmental and they can just assume certain things, and it's like, I'm actually very happy in my relationship. The only missing piece is his physical presence.
Right.
The most viral rumor that came out of all this drama was that Future had smashed Mariah during Thug's bid, creating the type of betrayal that would explain all the venom in Thug's attacks. An ex-post from @ski_mask_media on September 7th, 2025 asked, "Did Future have sex with Mariah the scientist or something?" linking to a leaked clip where Thug was venting about betrayal. Video thumbnails like "Future smashed young Thug girl and he cried" from a content creator got over 100,000 views, claiming they had inside information about an entanglement. The speculation reached peak levels when fans started going back through Mariah's lyrics from her 2024 song Rainy Days, looking for clues. Lines like, "But you know I got a man," suddenly got interpreted as denial of an affair, while other lyrics got dissected for hidden meanings about Future allegedly being involved in her life during Thug's most vulnerable period, locked up. This explosive street drama was just the beginning though, because the direct confrontation between Young Thug and Future themselves was about to get exposed in the rawest form possible through these unfiltered jail call recordings. The beef between Young Thug and Future. What started as hood rumors and block speculation quickly turned into something way more personal and devastating when the full scope of Young Thug's real feelings toward Future got exposed through these leaked jail calls. The conversations revealed way more than just casual hate. This was some deep-seated street resentment that had been building up for years, leading to some of the most brutal and personal disrespect ever captured between two major trap artists. The leaked recordings contain multiple conversations specifically targeting Future, showing just how deep Thug's anger and disappointment ran with his former Day One and collaborator.
And this is actually crazy. So 2 phone calls have leaked that are regarding Future. We got an 11-minute call where he's basically calling out Future for not wanting to do the Free Young Thug show, and he basically slamming Future. He's saying he a buster.
Young Thug's pointed criticisms directed at fellow Atlanta rapper. Future escalated what has long been a complex, on-again, off-again relationship between the two artists, turning private frustrations into public drama. The disrespect, dropped in casual conversations mainly with Thug's main girl Mariah the Scientist, painted Future as unreliable, a deadbeat father, and fake in his industry moves. The main thing that set Thug off was Future allegedly refusing to do a Free Young Thug benefit show while Thug was fighting his case. This rejection hit Thug real personal, since he looked at it as betrayal from somebody he considered real family and a solid collaborator. The excuse Future gave for not showing up struck Thug as straight disrespectful and phony.
I don't know. I do not understand.
I was on the phone last night. This said, "Man, I told them I ain't want to do the show because I ain't want to feel like I was stealing your shine." What are you talking about?
Thug's frustration was obvious as he broke down Future's excuse for ducking the benefit show. The explanation that Future didn't want to steal his shine hit Thug as straight cap and disrespectful, especially coming from somebody who had worked with him on major projects like their joint tape Super Slimy in 2017. Thug saw right through that fake excuse, knowing the real reason was that Future didn't want to be associated with his legal troubles during such a high-profile case. The fake behavior in this situation wasn't lost on Thug, who felt like Future's response showed the difference between real loyalty and fake friendship in the rap game. For Thug, the refusal represented everything wrong with fair-weather relationships in hip-hop culture.
It wouldn't even be no question if it was the other way.
Correct.
That's what I respect about the evening.
So he says that's what I don't respect about him. Wouldn't even be a question if it was the other way around.
Thug called out the fake behavior he saw in Future's actions, pointing out that if the situation was flipped, he would have immediately supported a Free Future campaign without any hesitation or excuses. This comparison highlighted what Thug saw as a basic character flaw in Future, the inability to be genuinely loyal when things got real. The conversation showed Thug's belief that real street loyalty should be unconditional, especially when somebody is fighting for their freedom. But the conversation got way more personal when Thug started attacking Future's character on multiple levels, going beyond professional disappointment to straight personal attacks about Future's studio behavior, parenting, and authenticity as both an artist and a man. One of the most damaging parts of Thug's critique focused on Future's alleged two-faced behavior in the studio, where he would ask for advice privately but front publicly.
You know, if I pull up to the studio messing, chilling with him, you ask me what to say on the song and how you should start off your song. Then there's girls in the room. Now you acting like you don't hear me telling you that.
According to Thug, Future would be asking for his advice and input when they were alone, basically asking for guidance on lyrics and song structure, which showed Future respected Thug's creative abilities. But when other people, especially females, were around, Future would suddenly act like he didn't need or want Thug's input, basically ignoring him to look independent and self-sufficient in front of others. This fake behavior really got under Thug's skin because it represented everything he hated about phony relationships in the industry. The fact that Future would privately acknowledge Thug's superior creative abilities while publicly dismissing them hit right at Thug's sense of authenticity and real friendship. It was in Thug's mind the definition of fake behavior.
Girls in here, like, just like little fake, that, like little stuff like that. I don't be liking that player. Like, what's wrong with you, dude?
He said, I'm a player, I don't be liking that.
The attacks got more personal as Thug questioned Future's intelligence and authenticity. He characterized Future as somebody who was basically putting on an act rather than being real, particularly when it came to his interactions with women and his public image. Thug's repeated use of calling Future fake throughout the conversation showed how deep this betrayal cut and how it had completely changed his view of Future as both a friend and an artist. The most devastating part of Thug's attack focused on Future's parenting and treatment of women, where the conversation shifted from professional disappointment to moral judgment, with Thug positioning himself as superior when it came to family values and responsibility. This attack was particularly cutting because it targeted Future's character as a man, not just as an artist.
I'm 38, 39, all the kids grown. I'm just a straight young, none of them hoes. I'm gonna play a rich. It's really fire, but it ain't. It should be just like one or two girls like Bob Marley, you know. Bob Marley, well, he had a lot of baby mamas too, though. But he was more like a real father too, though. You know what I'm saying? Pluto got to like settle down and really just be with all the kids.
Thug's comparison between Future and Bob Marley was particularly harsh because it acknowledged that having multiple baby mamas wasn't necessarily the problem. The issue was how you handled the responsibilities that came with being a father. By comparing Future unfavorably to Bob Marley, Thug was basically calling him a deadbeat dad who prioritized his image and lifestyle over his children's well-being, suggesting that Future was 100% locked in with the bit rather than 100% locked in with the kids. The leaked calls also revealed Thug's belief that he had been instrumental in Future's creative development, suggesting that he had taught Future everything he knows about music. This claim, while impossible to verify, showed the depth of Thug's resentment about what he saw as Future's ingratitude and disloyalty after all the game he had provided over the years. The public reaction to these leaked conversations was swift and divided, but they effectively ended any possibility of reconciliation between the two artists, at least in the immediate future. Future's camp reportedly views the leaked conversations as old jail talk, suggesting they're not taking the comments too seriously, but the public nature of such personal attacks makes it difficult to simply move past them. However, these devastating personal attacks between former Street Brothers represented just one piece of a much larger legal and personal crisis that had been consuming Young Thug's life for years, setting the stage for an even more complex story about justice, loyalty, and survival in the modern trap game. Young Thug's legal nightmare and the RICO case that changed everything. The explosive leaked jail calls and street drama were just the latest chapter in what had been a years-long legal nightmare for Young Thug, stemming from one of the most controversial and closely watched RICO cases in hip-hop history. Young Thug's Jeffrey Lamar Williams high-profile RICO case, initiated with his arrest on May 9, 2022, represents one of the most scrutinized legal battles in hip-hop history. The day the feds and local law enforcement ran down on the YSL crew was unlike anything anyone in the collective had ever experienced, looking more like a military operation than a typical arrest situation. The sheer scale and intensity of the operation left everyone involved traumatized and shook by the overwhelming display of force.
Man, them folk coming out of trees and all type. snipers. You hear me? Drones, helicopters, all types. What?
Prosecutors in Fulton County, Georgia, alleged that Thugs YSL, Young Stoner Life record label, doubled as a criminal street gang responsible for murders, drug trafficking, and other crimes. The case, which dragged on for nearly 3 years and became Georgia's longest criminal trial, culminated in a plea deal on October 31st, 2024, allowing Thugs release after 29 months locked down. The investigation that led to the massive RICO indictment had been in the works for years. Law enforcement had been watching YSL and its associates since at least 2013, building a case that would eventually include 56 alleged crimes committed between 2013 and 2022. The scope was crazy. Everything from the 2015 murder of Donovan Thomas Jr. to a 2022 drive-by involving Lil Wayne's tour bus was allegedly connected to YSL's criminal enterprise. The arrests themselves were conducted with overwhelming force, involving multiple agencies and creating a level of fear and confusion that left lasting psychological damage on those who witnessed it. Associates described the scene as looking like a war zone more than a typical arrest operation.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Because you end up facing additional charges because you were with him. So you're facing 12 counts, including racketeering, murder, guns, drugs, and street gang participation.
The legal strategy used by prosecutors was particularly controversial because it relied heavily on rap lyrics as evidence of criminal activity. Fannie Willis, the district attorney for Fulton County, Georgia, defended this approach by saying, "If you decide to admit your crimes over a beat, I'm going to use it." This prosecutorial strategy sparked mad debate in the hip-hop community about artistic expression versus potential criminal admissions. One of the most damaging pieces of evidence against Thug came from his own voluntary cooperation with law enforcement in an unrelated matter years earlier. The leaked interrogation video showed Thug talking with police about various incidents, and critics argued this contradicted his later claims about never cooperating with law enforcement. The footage revealed behavior that many viewed as problematic from a street credibility perspective.
Thug really thought Thug was like, man, I was flirting.
He's
so you in a like you a different type of street. They've been calling Thug a unicorn. I ain't calling it.
The RICO case took a massive toll on everyone involved, but especially on Thug himself. The psychological pressure of facing potentially decades in prison, combined with the isolation of being locked up and the collapse of many of his closest relationships, created the perfect storm for the type of emotional breakdown captured in the leaked calls. The stress of the situation was evident in every conversation, as Thug processed betrayal, disappointment, and fear while fighting for his freedom. Thug's understanding that the calls would eventually surface regardless of his post-release behavior suggests he was aware of their damaging nature even as he was making them, adding another layer of tragedy to the situation, a man processing trauma and betrayal in what he thought were private moments.
I think, personally, no matter what I came out of jail and did, it still would have came out one day. Me personally. I understand what you're saying, because it still came out when the whole world looked at me as a real. My jail phone call got leaked.
The plea deal that ultimately secured Thug's freedom came at a massive cost. He pleaded guilty to gang, drug, and gun charges, receiving time served, 15 years probation, 100 hours community service, a $100,000 fine, and bans on gang association and certain Atlanta zones. The restrictions effectively exiled him from large portions of his hometown and severely limited his ability to associate with many former friends and collaborators. The probation terms create what street-smart individuals describe as a dangerous revolving door situation where any violation could result in severe consequences. Experienced cats familiar with the system understand how this trap works and the constant pressure it creates.
And that's what they come at, that's what they tried to put me in, the revolving door. 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
If he can mess up one time in those 5 or 10 years.
You get that whole time.
That's what they love you to do, put you in that revolving door.
Right.
The question of whether Thug can successfully complete 15 years of probation without violation has become a major topic of discussion within hip-hop circles, with many street veterans expressing serious doubts about the feasibility of such a long probationary period. The restrictive nature of his probation terms, combined with the high-profile nature of his case and the leaked calls controversy, creates multiple potential pitfalls that could trigger violations.
Young Thug has 15 years probation. If he violates, he can get 20 years. Do you think that Thug could go 15 years without violating?
The impact on Thug's record label, YSL, has been equally devastating. What was once a thriving collective of Atlanta artists has been decimated by the RICO case, with most members either taking plea deals, distancing themselves from the label, or facing their own legal troubles. The case has effectively ended YSL as a functioning music operation and scattered its former members across the industry. The leaked calls themselves represent a potential risk to his probation status. If authorities determine that the drama and conflicts generated by the calls create a likelihood of violence or violations of his probation terms, they could potentially use them as grounds for revocation. This adds yet another layer of legal jeopardy to what was already a precarious situation. The broader implications of the YSL RICO case extend far beyond Young Thug himself. Legal experts warn that the case sets a dangerous precedent for using rap lyrics as criminal evidence and could have a chilling effect on artistic expression throughout the hip-hop community. The case has fundamentally changed how record labels and artists approach their business relationships and creative output, with many now way more cautious about any content that could be seen as criminal activity. The human cost of this legal ordeal cannot be understated. A promising music career has been derailed, relationships have been destroyed, and a man's freedom remains hanging by a thread for the next decade and a half. The leaked calls that sparked this latest controversy are ultimately just symptoms of a much larger tragedy. The collision between artistic expression, street credibility, and a criminal justice system determined to make an example of one of hip-hop's most innovative voices. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.